Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. It's Thursday, March 25th. We know what the 10x is. I will get you my thoughts on that and get you all caught up on what you need to know for Raid heading into this weekend. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, the 10x is not launching as of me recording this video. It's going to be an event for this weekend. You will want to wait until the portal indicates what champions are live. Typically in these events, you can click on the eye up here, and then down below in this empty space, it will show all of the champions featured in the 10x. So you want to wait until you see those champions there if you are going to be pulling during the 10x. But the champions that are involved in this 10x are going to be Coronar, Ray, Prince Kaimar, Suzerain Catan, Skartosis. Then the epics are going to be Skullcrown, Sylar, Skytouch Shaman, Nazana, and Basilisk. So now let's go through each one of these champions really quickly, and I will get you my thoughts on them. So for Coronar, I don't have this guy, but I wish I did. He's a cool champion. He's fun to play around with, especially if you have Manaya to go along with him. They've got kind of the Beauty and the Beast theme going on. Manaya right here. If you've got Manaya, getting Coronar is definitely a fun team to be able to play around with, and he is definitely a solid champion. Ray in the Dark Elves is a legacy champion that has a lot of utility, can do a lot of things. She's an amazing champion for early to mid-game progression, and she's very end-game viable in lots of different areas of the game. With the AoE A1, we always love that, and it does defense break. Plus, she's gonna nuke super hard with her A2 based on targets having debuffs, which is a qualifier that's very easy to hit. And then her A3 is not only going to do AoE buff strip, but it's also going to have a chance to freeze them. And she gets ally speed by 33% in dungeons. So Ray is definitely a cool legendary. Then as we move into Suzerain, you will see a common theme starting to form, and that is another AoE A1. So during this 10x, we're going to be getting champions that have lots of AoE and are going to be good stun set candidates because they've got AoE A1s to be constantly hitting a bunch of enemies on the enemy team. And Suzerain has a cool role in the game. This AoE big version of decreased speed, constantly being up on your opponents, can be very handy for waves. So he's got a pretty cool role in the game. And staying in the Undead Horde, you've got Skartosis with another AoE A1 that also fills a cool role in the game. It's AoE buff Steel, which is not very common in Raid. So having that on a default ability can definitely do some fun things in the right situation. And then he's got a very interesting kit with a lot going on here, especially on the Rebirth A3. And he does get speed in dungeons just like Ray. Prince Kaimar is also featured in this 10x, and he's one of the coolest champions in the game to have on your account. It is very fun to do things with this Seal of Magic that's going to reset the cooldown of all ally skills. You can do lots of awesome things in the Doom Tower and all different sorts of speed farming scenarios, taking advantage of Prince Kaimar. Then as we move into the epic champions, Skullcrown is a great early to mid game progression champion, one of the best epic nukers. You can see there the attack is over 1500. She has a speed aura for the arena, which is definitely impactful when you're trying to progress your account, and a bunch of AoE abilities that she also places the unkillable on herself. So she is a massive pain to deal with in the arena. You will see her on a lot of teams. You'll come across her all the time, and that unkillable buff when you're trying to farm the arena can be super annoying. Sylar is a champion that I have been singing the praises of for a really long time. AoE, decreased speed, and 40% turn meter down is something you don't see very often in Raid. It's one of the coolest speed suppression abilities in the game. Obviously, the AoE A1, we don't even need to mention that at this point anymore. She did get an aura added to her with the release of Faction Crypts, and Sylar can be an extremely suppressive champion, especially now with the release of the Doom Tower, having even more viability. Skytouch Shaman is a very interesting one and can definitely be super annoying. Anybody who has done those higher stages of the Doom Tower knows what I'm talking about. There's some waves where you've got like double Skytouch Shaman, and they are super annoying to deal with if you're not able to constantly remove buffs and constantly CC the enemy team. The Skytouch can carry the fight when you're dealing with those waves. So a very impactful champion as long as you are getting some decent luck on the RNG of proccing the passive here, and then also building the right team around her to go ahead and extract all the value from the different things that she brings. Then for Nazana, she's gotten power creeped a little bit. This is a legacy champion that's been there since the start, and she was, back in the early days of Raid, viewed as a pretty solid epic, and a lot of people were searching for her. I haven't heard a lot of talk about Nazana in the last year or so. I think it's maybe just a little bit of power creep and lots of newer champions coming out that do shielding and cooler abilities. Like, I'm talking about in the back of the days before there was even Miscreated Monster or anything like that. Nezana had a little bit more value, but she's basically just an ally protection shielder. And early to mid game, she could maybe help you progress a little bit on your account in the right team built around her. And the last champion featured here is going to be Basilisk. Now, really my only experience with Basilisk is trying to clear that super annoying Lizard Epicman room, Epic Lizardman room. I can't talk here this morning because there's not a whole lot of epics to choose from. They've actually released one or two since that Doom Tower room came out with Aox and then Quargan, but I had to basically build every lizard epic I had just to try and clear that room. So Basilisk was, and I always get Jarang and Basilisk mixed up. I don't know why, but yeah, Basilisk, typical AoE A1. Good candidate for the stun set, especially for that epic Lizardman room. And then we've got the guaranteed stun as long as he has accuracy on the A2, and you can book that to a 3-turn cooldown. So, yeah, an average epic, but pretty solid for the Lizardman secret room. So that is all the champions in this weekend's event for the 10x, and it's going to be Coronar, Ray, Prince Kymar, Suzerain, Skartorsis, Skullcrown, Sylar, Skytouch Shaman, Nezana, and Basilisk. If you're looking for my thoughts on the 10x, it's going to be pretty par for the course in terms of what I usually think, and that is that I would treat this as an epic chasing event. It's too, like, there's no like Siffy here to where I would say to chase like legendaries. The legendaries are good. Coronar, Ray, Kymar, Suzerain, probably the least used one. Skartorsis and Suzerain a little bit more niche, but Coronar, Ray, and Kymar are definitely good legendary champions. But if you're trying to get the maximum value out of your shards, I would still recommend to go for a 2x. But not a bad idea for an early to mid game player to try and go for like a Skullcrown or a Sylar and really help you get a pretty good epic that'll help you progress into the mid game. So my stance is 90-something% of you, the best option is going to be hold off, be disciplined, and wait for the next 2x event to pull those shards. So now let's go ahead and go over what is going on in game. Ice Golem tournament is going to be ending today, so keep an eye on that. You do have fragments over here that you're going to want to make sure you scoop up if you are going for Yoshi, and most of you probably should be at least trying for Yoshi because it's our introduction to the Shadowkin faction. He's going to be a handy one to have when you're putting together that first team when the Shadowkin is added to the faction Crypts map. So pay attention to that today before that ends. Then we'll be having a classic arena takedown event starting, and then a champion chase tournament starting, and then usually this champion chase countdown is a pseudo indicator of when the actual event is going to launch. So that 10x that I just talked about is probably going to launch when this champion chase tournament countdown is finished. But make sure you confirm that in the summoning portal. Don't just blindly follow that. But usually we can use that as a pretty good indicator of when the event will go ahead and start. Then if we dive in to the events, the main thing I believe was the dungeon divers. You got about a day and a half left on that. So you will want to get to 4,500 if you can to get those fragments, but at least get to 2,500 and scoop those up. The more progress we can get towards Yoshi, guaranteed. We want to make sure we're doing so. So pay attention to that 4,500 in the next day or two before Dungeon Divers ends. And then the artifact enhancement event that I told you about in our last wrap-up video has started. So now is the best time to go ahead and level up a bunch of stuff to level 8 or level 12 and see which ones are worth keeping, and then also take some of those artifacts that are on your main champions to 16 so that you can double dip and get a lot of your points here on the artifact enhancement event. You're going to want to get to at least 26, 25. After that, there's nothing too crazy, but we do at least get core hammers and some champion fragments for Yoshi, so definitely pay attention to the artifact enhancement event before that ends here in about 3 days. And then you know what time it is. Let's head on into the shop and see what is going on here. So, all right, we've got special silver pack for $20. I haven't spent very much on raid in the last month or so, so I'm starting to get offers that skew towards the cheaper end. Plarium will adjust your spending tier according to your spending habits the last 30 or 40 days. So that was a question that came up a lot in my last video. People were like, why are my packs different than yours? And if you're new to my channel or new to raid, maybe you don't know this, but your price, they usually, for every offer, they've got about 2 or 3 versions typically, and you will get a different version based on your spending tier. If you tend to spend less, they will try to give you cheaper offers, and if you are a higher spender, they would give you more expensive offers. Typically, they are pretty close in terms of value and bang for your dollar spent, but they try to fit within your budget of what you're spending. So if you see different offers than the ones I'm plugging in, That is why, but your value should be pretty close to the one I'm plugging in. They usually just like double the price and then double what you get. So pretty standard there. 20 and then 700 energy, 500 gems, 7 million silver. Boom, 1.89. So gonna be a pass for me, but it's technically a decent offer compared to what we usually see in game. You've got about 1 week left to decide on your monthly pack, and this is a 2.45 on the value. And I just realized I did not have this up. Sorry, it didn't pop up when I clicked on it, but yeah, this is the offer here on the special silver pack. You were probably confused as to what I was talking about, but it didn't show up on the screen. So 1.89 right there. Monthly pack is a 2.45. The great deal mix pack is 25. This is gonna probably be a pass if I had to guess. I've seen these a few different times. Energy 750. What is that? 60 brews. 7 and 2 on the books. And I believe that's everything. 2.24. Okay. If you need those books, if those books are very impactful for you, technically one of the better ones you're going to get in game, but you can see my purchase price. I would prefer that to be around $22 before jumping in. So that would also be a pass from me personally, but there's the value if you want to know about that. We just plugged in the mini mix a few times in the last couple videos. The accessory offers are typically very bad, so I'm not even going to plug that in. I don't recommend purchasing those. 3-day pack, these usually have a little bit more potential, so let's plug this in. 40 is expensive though. I'm surprised that mine is 40. Let's go 1,000 gems, 5.5 million, 4,000 energy, and boom, yeah, 1.9. So pretty similar to the special silver pack. I don't see anything I would really jump on. If I had to pick, it'd be the monthly pack is the best thing I see here. But after that, the great deal mix pack is decent. So let's get that put away and we will wrap things up here. So first of all, if you're watching this video right when it comes out, down below in a pinned comment, there'll be a link to stream. I'll be hanging out for a couple hours, just playing some raid and having some fun and talking about the raid community, hanging out. So feel free to join us right there in the next few hours. And otherwise, yeah, my thoughts on the 10x are pretty normal. It's a decent 10x. The champions are pretty cool. Some good legendaries like Kymar, Ray, Coronar, good epics like Skullcrown and Sylar. So I don't really have a problem with the 10x champions per se. I think it's a decent event with some AoE champions, some stun set utility, and some fun ones to have on your account. But just given the event structure and the way it falls down, for most of you, it's still going to make sense to hold off until the 2x event, unless you're epic chasing or something to collect one of those. The odds are just too low to get a legendary. Like if you pull 30 ancients, the odds of getting a legendary and then having it be one of those impactful ones that you're looking for like Kymar is just so low that I would rather go for the general overall buff and utility that the 2x event would bring in terms of acquiring champions and getting the most value for your shards. That's my opinion. Let me know if you disagree down in the comments, but yeah, that'll do it for this one. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.